Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here with 60andMe. Thank you so much for being here today. Hope you're enjoying a beautiful day. It is coming on for autumn. I have a love-hate relationship with the autumn season. I love the cool weather, the scents, the changing seasons, the whole idea of renewal and transition and opportunity that lies ahead. And I like the cool weather as well, just where you can bundle up in a nice comfy sweater and have that pumpkin spice latte if you like that. But there's also many senses that are energized by the autumn, the fall. And so for me, it's a love-hate because it's the end of the summer, the bright sunshine. We've still got sun here now. And, it's just that kind of dealing with change. And I think if there's one thing that all of us have dealt with over the last 6 months, it is just this constant bombardment of not knowing what is going to happen next, what's going to change in our lives. And one of our wonderful bloggers, Chris Hilicki, wrote an article. And this article, it got a lot of responses on the website. I encourage you to read it. But when I read it, I just kept highlighting things. I just kept reading and saying, yes, I get that. That's so much what I feel. Because even though we're going into this new season, the days are shorter, the nights are darker. There's something magical about it and something hopeful and powerful. It's a time when we can look at change in a positive way. We can embrace, as Chris talks about in her article, are crazy. And she uses this word, and at first it's in the title, and it's like, what does that actually mean? Well, it's sort of like the crazy person inside of you that is waiting to come out. That person who you push, that you all your life maybe have hidden away and sort of not been able to express because you want to please everybody else. You've been trying to please someone else's idea of yourself. And these transitions that we go through, especially the last 6 months, but also now that we're approaching the new autumn season, can make us crazy. And Chris is saying, and so the problem with that is what? Because that crazy person is the one that has new ideas, new energy, looking bravely at the new directions that are possible ahead. I encourage you to read the article because it's really, in a way, so powerful. And she talks about crazy in the sense of losing your mind. That's how when you go crazy, you lose your mind. Well, she says, fine, lose your mind. Focus on your heart. Focus on your heart and your senses and your creativity. Let that mind, that mind that controls and guides and monitors and kind of modifies your behavior sometimes, let it go. Go be crazy. And she talks about how if you start to enable positive self-talk into your life, how that can really enthuse and amplify and drive a transition. And the healthy, positive self-talk is one of the greatest things that you can do to make those changes not just more real, but more actionable, more practical. And it's a key element for accepting change. She talks about honesty merging with truth and kindness and compassion. Yes, we've got to be honest with ourselves about what's possible, what we can do in the world that we live in. But if there's this kind of core of compassion and kindness and authenticity, then that has a power. I think that's amazing. Change is happening. It's the one constant in our lives. It's the one thing that we all, maybe try to, soften, we can deal with this change, but not that change. We can deal with this amount of alteration in my life, but not this much. And so I think she calls on us to listen to our heart and, not in a corny way, like listen to your heart, but ignore all the logic and the mind and the things that are shaping you, but just to let it go a little bit. So she says that change should revive us, not deprive us. And I love that quote. She says that she's gone down many, many rabbit holes in her life. And, she said, have you? I have. I've gone through many rabbit holes in my life. And sometimes I've gotten completely lost there for years in a rabbit hole. And then I suddenly realized this is not my rabbit hole. This is not where I want to be. And then I've climbed back out. Sometimes I've climbed back out with a little bit of pain because I really thought that rabbit hole was going to take me somewhere. Example for me was when I was living in Seattle, I had a shop. I always wanted to own my own shop, and it was called Passion for India because I have a passion for India and a passion for Indian textiles particularly. So I opened a shop. I was still working at Microsoft, and so I hired a manager to come and manage the shop, but I owned the shop. And on the weekends I would go in. That was a really fun rabbit hole. I went to India many times. I spent all my savings. All my savings on decor. I bought a camel cart. I bought, I didn't need to do, I bought lots and lots of stock. And I didn't even stop to think, how many scarves would I need to sell in order to pay the rent? But I was there for 3 years. I was in that rabbit hole for 3 years, and it was lovely. I really loved my rabbit hole of my shop. But after 3 years, 9/11 happened, of course, and that put a stop on shopping, and I just decided not to renew the lease. And I crawled out of the rabbit hole, and I flew out because I've had a great time. It was wonderful. But I mean, this is the kind of rabbit holes you can go down, and some of them are big mistakes. You know, I can look at that now and say there were many things I wished I had done differently. But maybe you can remember some rabbit holes that you've gone down. So she's been, Chris is of the opinion, and I'm kind of in this with her, is like, try it all. Just go for it. What's to be lost? I mean, at that time, admittedly, I had a job that I was earning a good salary, and I could afford to do these two things. And I admit that was my fortunate situation. It was my decisions. I could have quit work. I could have done that full time, but I did stay on and kept my job for a few more years. So, but her life has been, full of forks in the road and decisions that she's had to make. But those were good changes. They were things that really people could say, "You're crazy, Margaret. Why are you opening a shop? You've got a great job here, blah blah blah." No, I just want to try it all. And she says that transitions don't always, though, mean giving up things. And sometimes in tough situations, we have to kind of, decide what we're going to give up, what we're going to keep. There's a quote in this article that right now has really, really struck me. And it just reminds me of so many of the challenges that I faced in my life. And probably when I read it, it will remind you of yours as well. I highlighted this quote. I don't know how many times I've said this quote to people in my world the last couple of weeks after reading this article, but it says, "Sometimes the seemingly unsurvivable moments in our lives create a whitewater current that sweeps us forward towards who we were meant to be." I don't know why I find that so powerful. It's that sometimes the seemingly unsurvivable moments in our lives, things that we just do not think we're going to survive, create a whitewater current. And think about a current that's just like pulling you along. You just can't stop but go in that direction. But it's leading you to the person you were meant to be. And for goodness sake, if there isn't one time in your life right now that you can say, I'm going to go on this current, it's going to lead me to the place, to the person I was meant to be, I don't know what is. This is your time. I really, truly believe that. And it says the transitions that we need as we age aren't those that chase some version of settling down. Those are the ones that make us feel most alive. I just love that quote. But the bottom line here is what she says. Don't settle for less. This is your time to follow that current. If there seems to be something in your life with your family, with your children, with your job, with your style, with your hair, with anything that seems like you're just not going to make it through this. This is just too hard, too difficult. Know that the current is going to gently lift you and not rush you along, but pull you gently along, tug you along towards the person that you were meant to be. Life is not always comfortable. Change is not easy. And I know from reading so many of the comments, I get emotional about this because there's so many women in our community right now that are suffering, especially the women in the States. I know that we have a lot of women living in the United States, and it's very hard. The virus is causing so much havoc, and people can't travel, people can't get out to meet their families, and it's hard. But right now that's an unsurvivable. But let's move, maybe it seems that way, but let's move towards the light. Move towards the person who's strong, the brave woman that can do this. Not like the brave warrior that can cope with anything. You don't have to be like that. You just have to see each experience as a way to lighten the load, to clear the air, to amplify your senses, to let that controlling mind that tells you what to do for other people take a rest. And let the energy of your heart and your soul and your inner being come out. That's the person that you need to follow. She says in this article, I love this article, by the way, Chris, we don't always get the fairy tale, but we can get the happily ever after if we just redefine that happily ever after. And it may not be anything like we thought it was going to be 60 years ago when we were little girls and we were thinking, oh, I'm going to have this life. This is how it's going to be. Your life has been bombarded with change, bombarded with opportunities, and here you are. So I hope this has been a useful conversation. I feel it with all my heart. I really do, that this is a time to go crazy a bit. Just enjoy your life. Be out there, be eccentric, be a bohemian, be conservative, be whatever you are, but be yourself. Hope it's been helpful, everybody. I love chatting with you about these kinds of topics. They energize me too. But have a wonderful day wherever you are in this beautiful world. Take good care of yourselves. Stay strong, stay safe, and stay positive. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye-bye for now.